Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Morning Line here on TVG. Alongside Matt Crothers, I am Mike Joyce, and we wish we had a better way to start our week off, but we had some devastating news that just came down the line in the last several minutes. Longtime announcer at the Meadowlands and a stalwart of racing there in East Rutherford, New Jersey, Sam McKee has passed away. We knew he had some health issues. He suffered a stroke several weeks ago. There was some optimism about his recovery. We hadn't really heard news lately. We will have Darin Zoccali on the line to speak about it in just a little bit, Matt, but clearly devastating news for the harness racing community and the racing community in general.
It's awful. I mean, words obviously don't describe. We just found out about 15 minutes ago, right before you're preparing for a show, and that's the news you get right before you come out here. So, yeah, we were devastated when we heard about his stroke over a month ago. I didn't know Sam well. I met him on a couple of occasions. I worked briefly at the Meadowlands back in the late 90s. I think that's the period where he just started to work there. But I know it's a cliche, folks, but I mean, seriously, he is the guy that everyone loved. He was unbelievably popular, extremely dedicated. You talk to any of the people that knew him really well at the Meadowlands, nobody loved racing and what he did more than Sam McKee, and it was infectious. And everyone kind of just fed off of Sam. Kids, wife, young man in his early to mid 50s, just absolutely awful.
We're joined on the line right now by Darin Zoccali, one of our colleagues here at TVG. He was a longtime employee at the Meadowlands.
Very close with Sam.
Many jobs there. And Darin, thank you for joining us. And just how instrumental, first of all, when you
condolences
heard the passing,
to you too, because you guys are very close. I
know you were very close to Sam, but tell us a little bit about Sam and how you're going to remember him.
Well, I mean, for me personally, I owe everything to Sam. I mean, he's the reason that I work in racing. He's the reason that I'm gotten the positions that I have. He was the driving force in everything that I did, pushing me, making phone calls on my behalf, calling people, saying, hey, I've got this, young, aspiring kid who wants to call races and, really loves the game and deserves an opportunity. And the amount of people that he called on my behalf to try to open doors for me, I probably can't even list them all. And, personally, I mean, I look at what I have in life, and professionally, it's because Sam picked up the phone relentlessly. I mean, I met him when I was 15 years old when he first came to the Meadowlands. And I mean, I think about those nights where he was hosting the TV show outside the Clubhouse Teletheater, and I was inside with my dad. And every night, like usually around the 6th or 7th race, I'd go outside and take coffee orders from Sam and Ken and Dave Brower and Holly Hayden. And, Sam always got a kick out of the fact that I would go downstairs to Dunkin' Donuts and come up with like 12 coffees for all the guys in the teletheater and the TV crew. And I mean, that's how my relationship with Sam started. And it was a friendship that grew into a professional relationship, and it grew into, him being a mentor. And I mean, a lot of people don't know that when my wife got pregnant for the first time, Sam was the first person I told outside of my family. He's the first person that knew. And I still remember him giving me this giant bear hug in the publicity office at the Meadowlands, just filled with joy for me. And I'm just devastated. I really don't know what else to say. It's just,
Darin,
it's just a loss forget about for racing, just for everybody. I mean, just a great person that you can't find a single person that would ever say a bad word about Sam. And I mean, I think that just spells it out, the kind of person he was.
And the Meadowlands family, too, because, I mean, I just worked there briefly back in 98, but the people that I met in 98 that worked there are still there. Ken Workington, Hollywood Hayden. I mean, Brad Thomas still goes back to the Meadowlands. So, I mean, this is a really tight-knit family at the Meadowlands. So the whole racing community is going to feel the effect of his passing, but it's going to be really, really tough at the Meadowlands, I would think.
I mean, I'm a very proud member of the TVG family, and before that, I was a very proud member of the Meadowlands family, and the love that everybody at that racetrack had for Sam and has for Sam. I can't understate that. I mean, he is literally probably just the most loved figure in all of harness racing. And, I know that your wife remembers him from calling races at Ladbroke DRC.
Yeah, she
does.
I
even shared a video with her on social media even before any of this happened. With Sam calling the old Michigan Mile back in like 1987 or 1988. And people don't realize how long Sam's been around. And I mean, professionally, in terms of his trade as an announcer, I know Sam, you don't hear his name necessarily with the likes of Tom Durkin and Dave Johnson because he's predominantly a standardbred announcer, but one of the most, accurate and concise and just unbelievably good racetrack announcers that exist in the country. And, not hear him, call out that a horse is charging hard or, that's not going to happen again. It's just very difficult to understand.
And as far as his impact, we've heard his calls from the Meadowlands, but as far as his impact on racing in general, the reason we're talking about him is because he had a tremendous impact on the racing community, the standardbred community there at the Meadowlands. What were some of the things that Sam was really instrumental in participating in and pushing forward in the sport of standardbred racing?
Yeah, I mean, one of the things that he was very instrumental with my time at the Meadowlands was pushing to build a relationship between the Meadowlands and really, over here just in general with overseas and getting that export signal of standardbred racing over to places like Sweden and France and trying to work towards commingling pools on days like Hambletonian Day and just this really innovative idea and the amount of times that he went overseas to try to build on that relationship and to try to dabble into this market that was kind of untouched at that time. Sam and Alex Bedoyan were probably the two first people to do that in harness racing, and they deserve a ton of credit for it. And but Sam did so many jobs at the Meadowlands. People know that he was an announcer, but Sam was there when I was there. 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, going over simulcast agreements, and the amount of times that during the course of a day that he would have to walk over to my office, or I would have to walk over to his office, and whether it's go over host fees and contracts and just different things that are just so deeply rooted within racetrack operations that most people don't even know about. The amount of, and not only that, but Sam ran the entire television department at the Meadowlands. He was the director of television. He oversaw all of the TV product. He oversaw a very large staff and gained an understanding of all the technical aspects of TV that I don't even know about, and what kind of cameras you needed to order and things like that, and finding the right talent to man those cameras. The number of things that he did at the Meadowlands, it's just, the list goes on forever.
Darin, thank you so much for your time and your consideration this morning, because we know it's a very difficult time for you personally.
We're sorry for your loss, Darin.
And we're very, very sorry for your loss. But be strong, brother, and we're really appreciative that you could spend this time with us to talk about Sam.
Thank you guys for opening the show with it. I really appreciate it very much. Have a great one.
Okay, thank you very much. Darin Zoccali, he once again was part of that Meadowlands family for years, and Sam McKee instrumental, as you heard, getting him into the sport. He's works with TVG now, but
I think that almost makes you kind of angry too. He was doing better. You were hearing reports. You were hearing that he wasn't able to speak after this massive stroke for a good amount of time, but then there was progress, and then you saw, I'd read stuff on Twitter, you could see it in his eyes, and he was awakening, and he actually finally was able to utter a few phrases, and so that's progress was there, and all of a sudden to get this news, it's just devastating.
Caitlin Bradar wrote an article about Sam McKee as well. She was very familiar with him.
Okay.
So she will have some insight to share with us when we join her. She'll be live at Gulfstream Park, as she is each and every day. We're going to take a break. When we return on the morning line, we will once again start talking about the live racing coming up, and we will continue our discussion, the loss of Sam McKee today that we just found out about. This is the Morning Line on TVG. We'll be back.